All right, so we're back. This time around, we're going to look into moderation, mediation, and control using AMOS. So now, if you recall the last time we did a separate factor analysis using AMOS. So that would mean we need to have a separate set of numbers to deal with as compared to the one with SPSS. So I did take the liberty of calculating a new set of mean scores, as you can see here right now, based on the results of our factor analysis that we did earlier using AMOS. So if you notice, if you recall there, we had a different set of question items that we kept and we deleted when we ran factor analysis using AMOS. So that would mean that we need to calculate a different set of mean scores, as you can see here right now, so that we can actually do the moderator and the mediator effects using AMOS. Now, as the model has shown you here, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the moderating effect of trust in e-government towards the relationship between information quality and perceived usefulness. So that's the first thing we're going to do. But before that, we need to calculate new columns as well so that we can reflect the moderating variable of trust of e-government. So the way we're going to do that is that we are going to calculate, okay, going to compute variable here. We are going to calculate a new set of moderating variables here in the similar way that we did it for when we did the moderating effects for SPSS. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this one. So the first one, okay, the first one will be on, let's say, sys quality and trust. Now, like I said in the beginning, before, it's like you can actually label the target variable in any way you want, as long as it's the one that you can understand, and people can tell what you're actually trying to say. So what we're going to do now is system quality. This is the one. This is the one. The ones with the A that you're seeing here. These were the mean scores that I calculated off screen to reflect the new mean scores that we had after we did factor analysis using AMOS. So what we're going to do is like system quality here, multiplied by trust. Okay, and then click OK. So you can see here that we will be we will be having this new column here, as we can see here. So this is the new one that we're going to use later on. Okay. All right. So the next step is that we're gonna do the same for the rest. So okay, let me just change the one. Let's do this info. And then we can use equal to trust. All right. Now this is multiplication anyway, so it doesn't really matter which one goes first. So your mathematics will tell you it's multiplication. So you can do it. You can do it any other way that you want as well. So the last one is surf qual trust. And let's do it the other way. So let's say we go put trust first, and then we use service quality here. So just to demonstrate. Okay, and then when we go back to our table, there we can see now. Yeah, we can see now the third column here that we have calculated for us to prepare ourselves to do moderating effects. So let's save the file first, and then now we transfer to AMOS. So when we do analyze again, you need to open your IBM SPSS AMOS down below here, and then it will open a file for you. Now, one thing while we're waiting for this to load, one thing I want to emphasize when we are doing AMOS here is that it can be easier for us to actually determine moderating and mediating effects here. So let me close the previous one. And again, if you want to check whether or not the SPSS spreadsheet is already linked to your AMOS drawing board here, you can look at the variable list of variables in data set, and you can see all of these variables that is here. What we want to use are these, the ones here and below. So this which we're seeing here. So, all right. Okay, so we got those. Okay, we got those. So that's those are the important things to do. So what we can actually do here is now again we're going to focus our attention now on these mean values that what we're seeing right now, so that and then we're going to use them to do our moderating effects. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do this one by one, meaning that we're going to test first. I'm going to use the information quality, perceived usefulness, and then trust in e-government as a moderator, just to show you how it works. Once you got that down properly, then all you need to do is to replicate it for the other 5 hypothesized moderating effects that you're seeing here. So, okay, let's go to it. So, first of all, we want to, we are going to do information quality. All right, so we want to use info quality. You can just click and drag it here. It will immediately generate a variable for you once you do that here. So, info quality, and then trust. Again, just click and drag from the list. And then afterwards, the moderating effect, info quality to trust. Okay, that's the third one. And then our dependent variable, perceived usefulness. Okay, so these are the ones that we are going to test. Now, the next step will be, okay, you can now close this one for what? Close this one for a bit. Oops. Okay, and then afterwards, you now draw the draw paths, the single-headed atoms. We're going to draw the path, the regression paths for our model here. So click on that here, and then the second one. Okay, you don't need to do that. So silly. Okay, second one here, and then third one over there. All right, and then afterwards, what you can do, again, this is a dependent variable, so you need to add a unique variable here, and then afterwards as well, click on the 3 independent variables here, go to plugins, and then draw covariances on the 3, and then name unobserved variable. So okay, that's there. And then we will go to analysis properties. Now this is something that that we should pay a little bit more attention with, because it'll be a little bit tricky for us later on when we interpret the results. So we go to output. We're going to go for standardized estimates, squared multiple correlations. I'm going to go for modification indices, indirect, direct and total effects, covariances, correlations of estimate, and critical ratios for differences. So these are the ones that we will be seeing later on while we do this. Okay, so close this one for now. Okay, close this one for now, and then let's run. Now again, the indication for you that you can actually run the model is that it will prompt you to save. So it will prompt you to save the file. So let's save the file as AMOS CM moderator. Okay, so this is info quality to perceived usefulness. All right, and save. And once you do that, it will generate your numbers for you. All right, and then when you want to see the report, just click on view text, and it will show you your text. So the model fit, you don't need to see this one. Like unlike before, that when we're looking at the whole model, when we do structural equation modeling, you don't need to see this one. What you just want to see is this table. Okay? Is this table, the standardized regression weights table. So you can see here. Yeah, you can see here again, as like I said, what we want from the regression weights table are only the CR values and the P values here. And then standard regression weights table, what we want to know, what we want to look at are these standardized estimates here. Okay, so you can see now that information quality to perceived usefulness is significant. Trust perceived usefulness is also significant. But what is most important for us is the moderating effect. This third row here, information quality to trust and information quality and trust is a moderator towards perceived usefulness. So we can see here that it's a negative moderator. So why is it negative? Because the estimate itself is negative. Now you notice that it's still significant, but at a lesser degree. It's significant at less than 0.01 here. And then the t value, the CR value, equivalent to your t value, it's still above 1.96, or in this case below negative 1.96. So that's what you want. So when you do your moderators, it's simply gonna be like this. All right. So yeah. So all right. So let's do another one just to recap it. So what you want to do is close this again, and then let's delete these three, and then let's choose another one. Like, let's choose a totally different one. Let's do system quality to perceive usefulness. Right. So let's look at the list of the list variables again. So what you want now is system quality, and then trust, and then the moderator, system quality to trust. And then let's do the same thing again. We're going to use our path diagramming here. Three, and then select the three independent variables, go to plugins, draw your covariances. The drawing of the covariances between the independent variables here just ensures that you have a better, like the best model fit, or like a better model fit that you possibly have. Again, it doesn't matter when you're testing for moderating effects. What it does matter as far as model fit is concerned when you do the actual structural equation modeling, which I demonstrated to you last time out. So, all right, so we're done with this. So all we need to do is run. Okay, we calculate the estimates again, and then when we look at the results, we look at the estimates, and we can see here now the result. Again, the same thing. For regression weights, what we are interested in are the CR values and the P values that we're seeing here. And then for the standardized regression weights, this is what we're going to look at. So we can also see here that trust in e-government is a negative moderator between system quality and perceived usefulness. So it's here because it's a negative value here. Now you can also see it in the result in your diagram here when you click on this button. So you can view the output path diagram. It would show you all of these numbers, but you want to look at the standardized estimates. So these three that you see here, 0.87, 0.36, and negative 0.32, these are the values, the standardized regression weights, and corresponding to these. Okay, corresponding to these, and of course your significance values would also matter here. Now the other one that you probably of interest to you is the 0.76 here that you see. This is the equivalent to the R squared. In the squared multiple estimate here, this is equivalent to your R squared. So you actually have a good R squared value, even though you only have three variables here. All right, so that's how you actually test for moderating effects. So you just do this over and over again, depending on the model. So we've done it 2 times, so you just need to do it 4 more times to reflect all of the other hypothesized relationships that you're seeing here as far as the trust in e-government as a moderator is concerned. Okay, all right, so with that, we are now going to proceed on how to do the mediating effects this time. So let me click this one off. Oops. Okay, and then let's delete everything. because we are now focusing our attention now to this part here, the one that we're going to do for mediating effects. Okay, for mediating effects. So again, like we did in the SPSS video, we're going to look at how if user satisfaction is uh, is a mediator between perceived usefulness and perceived benefits. But this time, since we're using AMOS, there's now an actually more explicit way to say whether there is mediation and whether it's significant or not. That's the other important thing. If we remember in the SPSS video, we can only have some indication whether there is partial mediation or full mediation, but we can't really say for sure if there is. Using AMOS, we can be more sure whether there is partial mediation or full mediation, and at the same time, whether that kind of mediation is actually significant. So let's get to it. Okay. So we're going to look at, again, list variables in the data set, and we're going to look at perceived usefulness, satisfaction, user satisfaction, and perceived benefits. Okay. So what we're going to do now, close this one again. So then we're going to try that AMOS here. Okay. And then since this is a dependent variable, an implied dependent variable, you need to put in a unique variable to this one to indicate, and then the name of also variables here. So this is how we're going to look into the mediating effect here. But we're going to add another function to our analysis properties. So when you go to analysis properties, all of this is still here, but we're going to use a function that we call bootstrapping. All right, so now what we want to perform bootstrap. All right, and you want to click on all of these three. Perform bootstrap, percentile confidence intervals, and bias corrected confidence intervals. This would help. Running these would help us evaluate later on whether there is indeed some mediating effect or not. So once that's done, okay, and then we can calculate now these estimates. All right. Okay. So, once it's done, we now click on view text. Bear with me on this. This might get a little tricky once we look at the results of the results from based on the output. Now, since we did run bootstrapping, it will take a little bit of while to generate all of the output that is needed for us to do so. So yeah, all right. So so again, model fit does not matter. So there's no need for you to worry about model fit. What we are looking for obviously would be here on the estimates. Now you can see here that we based on the results, we can see here that each direct effect is significant. Here. So we can first of all take note of these standardized regression weight numbers here. The CR values, again, these are our T values, and then these are our P values. Again, same standard applies. So that's the initial step. Now this is where it's going to get a little bit tricky. When you click on estimates, when you double click on estimates here, and when you look at the matrices, here, you can see here different matrices here. You can look at the total effects, the direct effects, and then the indirect effects. What we are going to look at are the indirect effects. Okay. Now there are two of it. So oops, sorry. There's the indirect effects, and then there's the standardized direct effects. So that's the first thing that we're going to look at. Okay. And then you notice that there is a second window here. A second window here. We can look at, oops. Okay. We can look at the estimates Okay, the estimates for the bootstrapping. Okay, so this is what we're going to look into. Okay, so basically here, and then what we're going to look into is this third table here, the standardized indirect effects with two-tailed significance. This will tell us whether or not the implied mediating effect is significant or not. So we can see here that there's a matrix here of perceived we can see the matrix here. So perceived usefulness to perceived benefits. Okay, we're seeing that we're seeing an indirect effect there. It's actually a reflection of these as a whole. Yeah, these as a whole. So what? So when you say significance, then that would mean that this value here, the one I'm pointing to right now, must be below 0.05 for it to be significant. Okay? 0.05. Okay? Take note of that. It's 0.05. So that means, okay, chances are that the mediating effect is significant. Now, if it's partial or full mediation, that's the time we're going to look at direct effects. Direct effect, and then we'll look, okay, direct effects here. So you can see here, okay, you can see here that the standardized direct effects, okay, oops, sorry, okay, yeah, the standardized direct effects here, you can see here that all of them, okay, okay, all of them are significant. All of them have high values. So these are your, so it's zero point 0.8. So perceived usefulness to user satisfaction, that's 0.876. Perceived usefulness to use per benefits is 0.44, and then user satisfaction to benefits is 0.482. Now recall the table that I've shown you before when we did the SPSS version for mediating effects. What we can only surmise there is that if there's mediation or not. So from what we're seeing, like let's go back to the estimates themselves. From what we're seeing, all of them are significant, right? All of them are significant. And then when we look at the standardized direct effects, all of them are significant. And then when we look at the estimates, okay, the estimates for, okay, for the standardized indirect effects, we know, okay, oops. Okay. All right, here, when we look at the bias corrected percentile, oops, sorry, come on. Okay, there you go. When you look at this, okay, we can see here, okay, we can see here that the two-tailed significance here that we're seeing here in the BC method is below 0.05. So that means there is a partial mediation, and that partial mediation is significant. Okay, so that's what it tells us. Okay, so let me repeat that. Again, this is a little bit tricky. We look at the estimates first, and then we can see that all of the p-values here are significant. We'll look at the direct effects, okay, the standardized direct effects. Okay, two-tailed, okay, the standardized direct effects, two-tailed. We can see that all of those standard effects are significant as well. Okay, see, all of them are below 0.05. But then when we look at the indirect, so that tells us whether if it's partial or full mediation. What you want is that the for full mediation, the perceived usefulness to perceive benefits, the one that we see here, this is supposed to be not significant. Okay, this is not supposed to be not significant. The other two, perceived usefulness to user satisfaction and user satisfaction to perceived benefits, this is the one that we want significant. Okay, so we can see, okay, we can see here in our result, all of them are significant one way or the other. Okay. So this would tell you whether it's partial or full. So in this case, all of them are significant. Then we can say that there might be some partial mediation. Now, in order for us to say whether that partial mediation is significant or not, we look at the standardized indirect effects and we look at the two-tailed significance, and then we can see here that indeed we have a partial significant moderation. Okay, all right. Yeah, again, it's a little bit confusing. It's a little bit, but this is actually the way that you can actually say whether there's mediation or not for this. So if those conditions that I've mentioned are not met, then that means there's no mediation at all. You can actually confirm it as well when you look at these as well. So you can see all of these numbers as well. Then you look at the standardized estimates. But yeah, so basically that's the way that you're looking at mediation effects for this one. Now, the last thing that we want to look into is the control. Now, I'm going to use this as purely for illustration purposes as far as controls is concerned. So let me just click this one out, and then let's click this one out. All right. So what I'm going to do right now is an illustration on how to do controls. Now, like I said in SPSS before, if you're treating a certain set of variables as controls, then you want them to be not significant when you run your analysis. So say for instance, we're going to look into okay, let's go for perceived benefits once more. All right. And then we're going to use perceived usefulness. Oh, not these ones. Okay, my bad. So it's not these ones. So these were the ones from SPSS. I'm going to use the one from the one that we use from AMOS. All right. So we're going to use perceived benefits here, and then we're going to use the perceived usefulness and user satisfaction here. And then we're going to include all of these, like gender, age group, number of years, and monthly income as our controls, because like these were the ones that we've hypothesized as control variables, as you can see here. All right, so let's take the gender, age group, number of years, and monthly income as our controls. So again, we're just going to regress them all towards. All right, there you go. Okay. All right, so we're going to use them as controls here, and then we're going to let's close this one now. We're going to covariate these two, okay, and we're going to covariate these four. Now remember, do not covary all of them together, because that would only mean that that will only imply that all of them are independent variables. The ones that you declare as control variables, you could just covariate them together. Again, when you do covary independent variables or control variables together, what you just want is a better model fit. And draw oh, okay, all right, it's there, and then name unobserved variables. There you go. Okay, all right. Okay, and then once that's done, I'm not gonna do bootstrapping this time. I'm just gonna use this one. Okay, and then afterwards we run. Okay, you're gonna see this. It's gonna tell you to covary them. Like I said a while ago, don't. Like, you only covary those that group together. You covary the independent variables together as is, and then you covary the demographic variable or the control variables together, but don't covary all of them together. So you can just proceed with the analysis. It will run it for you, and then when you look at the results, okay, all right, you achieve some model fit here. Okay, that's fine. It's totally fine. Okay, and then you look at the estimates. Now, like I said, what you want is that the ones that you declared as independent variables, in this case perceived usefulness and user satisfaction, are the ones that are significant, and then the ones that you mentioned as control variables, gender, age group, number of years, and monthly income, these are the ones that you do not want to be significant. Now again, if and only if you say that some certain variables are control variables, then what you want is for them to have low betas and high p-values. Low betas, low CR values or t values, and then high p-values. That's what you want. So in this case, we did achieve what we want. Our independent variables of perceived usefulness and user satisfaction are significant, but our control variables are not significant. So we basically achieve what we want as far as uh, analyzing our control variables is concerned. All right. So that's how you do moderating effects, mediating effects, and control variables as far as AMOS is concerned. Okay. In the next video, we will be moving on to another set of different statistical tools, and this will be on evaluating significance of differences using t-values and ANOVA, MANOVA. All right, so I'll see you then.